Hello? What do you mean, where's your car? You told me to drive your car. Oh, you wanted me to watch a movie for the review. Oh. Yeah, I'm driving your car. I'm literally driving your car right now. My bad.
Hi everyone, welcome to our final video for our Road to Oscar nomination reviews. Road to Oscars reviews. And our final contender is Drive My Car, which has been one of the best movies I've personally watched in my lifetime and in the last year or so. So let's get down to it. Guys, what did you think?
I think it was an interesting movie. This movie is nominated in the international category, I believe so as well, and as well as Best Picture. So yeah, this is quite nice. It's a good cultural shift from the traditional Hollywood that we are seeing. It's a really nice creative movie. It really gets your creative juices flowing, and well, the characters in there are getting their creative juices flowing. Um, what did you think, JD?
It's it's different than usually any international movies, and it's a good movie. I will say they were right to nominate this for once because the other movies are shit. It's obvious, but it's a very good movie. It's a long movie, the longest of them all, I believe, but you don't get bored watching it, and it's interesting. Yani they have portrayed each character differently, and they have yani explained the storylines for each characters, and that was a major part of it because usually long movies don't tend to explain it. So it was a good movie. It was a very good movie. That's what I would say. Yamuna can take the stage now.
Okay, thank you. Um, so this movie is definitely a very acquired taste. I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea. Some people might find it too long. Some people might find it pointless. Some people might think this should have been shorter. And yeah, there's lots of opinions out there. But when the Oscar nominations list came out, and there was buzz of this movie beforehand, this was the only movie I was honestly looking forward to watching. And the main reason behind this is because this movie is based on a short story written by one of my favorite authors of all time. It's Haruki Murakami. He's a great, really good writer. And in a way, I'm glad that they adapted this 30-page story into a 3-hour movie, which explains it's understandable why. So Murakami has a really distinct writing style wherein he focuses on all the very small, fine details in all of his books that I read so far. Um, there's a lot of description. He's just setting the environment for you in your head, and there's a beauty in that. The way he describes everything, the way it comes up. So, what I'm really proud of the director and the writers, and for creating this movie is that you are literally seeing Haruki Murakami book come to life in front of you. His writing style is just right there. The scenes, how the pacing is exquisite in my opinion because it makes you think, it makes you digest things. At the same time, it's complex. It's simple at the same time. You're thinking about things, you're processing things, and as you watch each scene go from the next. The characters are all very unique, and you understand a lot. And I feel like this movie was more about, I mean, since it's a car based movie, it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey. Our main character is a very complex guy. His wife was someone that experienced a lot of loss with already. They lost a daughter, and he found out that his wife was betraying him, cheating on him, and then she dies. And generally, I think he did not process it. You don't see him talk about this with anyone. You don't see him really have friends. You don't see him talking to anyone. I mean, I think the only couple or like people he felt some sort of like some sense of kinship towards was the driver and that couple, the guy and his hearing disabled wife. You could sense it there. But the way you see him deal with his emotions, the way you see him process things. And so ironically, this movie is basically, so Anton Chekhov has like a piece called Uncle Vanya. So you see that the characters are quoting parts of that like piece, and you can see like which character is saying it, and it actually applies to their situation as well. Like when they're rehearsing, or whether he's in the car, or whether it's a character saying those words, you can see that, yeah, this character kind of went through this and they're talking about it. It was a distinct way. I feel like Murakami wanted to really honor Chekhov's works as well. And that's why I think this is a really good movie in that sense too. So I think I talked about pacing. I talked about the journey destination thing. I'm really proud of myself for that. I'm sorry. I talked about Murakami. Oh yeah, another thing I noticed, I don't know if you guys agree with me here, is that the deaf character was the one who expressed the most emotion in the play, right? As compared to the speaking characters, as compared to them. I don't know, like I felt it. I felt like her scenes were more powerful, they were more intense, and she didn't have to say anything. And they hit like harder for me as compared to the others.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but she was not from Japan. She was Korean? Yeah. So maybe that's a cultural difference that I chalk that up to a cultural difference that, since she's speaking in Korean Sign Language, she might not have that same cultural level that the Japanese people have over there. Because obviously all these countries, they have their own culture and all whatnot, so they have their different ways of expressing themselves. Yeah.
It could be. I mean, it could be, but I still felt like her scenes were the most profound. The way she was acting them out, as compared to everyone else, was something else. While everyone felt they did a good job on its own. I mean, monotone, but hers, like whenever she looked at the camera or whenever she was signing, you could really see the passion behind it. All of the characters are great, and what I like the most is that the driver and him kind of discuss their traumas, and they learn to forgive each other. They learn to go through grief, and you learn that it could be anyone you encounter in your life, good or bad, but they're there for a reason. They're there for you to either learn more things about yourself or to understand more about yourself. And I think that was the main thing over here. He did love his wife, but he did resent her. So he was discussing with the driver that if I had maybe discussed her issues, maybe she wouldn't have died that night. And you finally see him just talk about his wife. I mean, he was dealing with his wife's lover throughout the movie. And I was like, wow, man, like, big respect for you for not wanting to punch this man, like, every single time he came in front of you. Whatever his reasons were, or what, like, obviously very complex feelings there, but at some point there would have been about her rage, like, showing up, and he was really professional. He, in fact, gave him even, like, the most, he gave him the title, he gave him the lead role in he gave him Uncle Vanya to play. So, anyway.
I think he enjoyed it. I think he enjoyed hanging out with his wife's lover. Like, you could see it in his face. He's like, yeah. And he just, because in a way, that dude would remind him of his wife. And a memory is still a memory, so maybe he just kept imagining them again. And whenever they work, they're like, he's imagining, he's picturing it in his head.
Don't laugh at me for saying this, but I think he also enjoyed seeing his wife from another perspective. Through someone else. To someone else. Emotionally. And yeah. So this movie really touched my heart, and even Junaid's heart. I think, like, we both really felt in tune with it. I don't know how you felt about it overall, but we both loved it.
It was a nice movie. I found it a little difficult to get into initially, but it was a nice story. Like it's good stuff.
Cool. So please do watch it, and please do discuss this movie with us. I hope that this movie wins Best Picture, but if it doesn't, I hope it wins Best International Picture. I'd be really happy because it's a very profound, complex piece of work, and I think this is going to be one of those all-time classic movies. It's paving its way to be there. In 20, 30 years or so, this is going to be one of those timeless movies. I'm very sure about it. So yeah, if you guys have anything else to say, we can jump to ratings or.
Okay, I will say something. The story was amazing. The depth of emotions were there, especially when he found out that Otto was cheating on him. And then instead of coming home, he stays in the hotel. That was very deep, literally. And other than that, so the thing is, I've been saying it in every review, I believe. A woman makes a man bend. So that's what happened literally in the movie. But I would also say he didn't enjoy being with the guy who his wife was cheating with. The thing is, he was only there because he found out that the guy knows more than him. The stories which she told him after they did stuff. But he was only there because he was only interested in being with the guy just to hear what the ending of the story was. And that was understandable by some some thoughts. The character for Yuri Park, which is the deaf Korean actress in the movie, was basically the highlight of the movie. And she portrayed more than the actors with voice could portray. And that was pure genius in a way, because they made a woman which had the ability to not speak define more emotions than the ability of a guy who could speak. And that is pure class, and that should be appreciated. The story is good, I would say that, but the other characters of the movie were not so much given a background or explained much instead of the main story characters. So the next character which was based on and was portrayed in a very good way was the driver, which was Misaki. And at the start of the movie, it was like the guy didn't trust anyone to drive the car, but he eventually gains the trust of the driver. And she was a pretty good driver, but we eventually go into the storyline of the girl, and we see that okay, she has gone through a lot, and she's not just there for fun or for a job, but she was raised that way, so she is doing what she was taught to do. And eventually he gains the trust, which was very detailed but very good. And the ending was good. I mean, it was a three-hour watch, and I didn't feel it was stretched. At times it was us wanting to see more of it, of where it would go, rather than just end the movie already. So I believe this is a good nomination.
Yeah, definitely a good nomination.
Yeah.
So let's move on to scores. I gave this an 8.5.
Before we do, can I thank you for saying all that, because whatever you said, whatever I could not manage to add or say. And yeah, it was a brilliant movie. It was very brilliant. You're right. Like, you did want to see more of it. You didn't feel like it was stretched. And the way they expressed the traumas and resolved them in a weird way was very nice. Anyway, get scores now before I or we be here all night talking about how good this movie is.
Okay, what's your score, Yumna?
I think it's obvious.
Is it?
It's a 10.
Okay.
It's a 10. Oh my! I spoke about this movie for like 20 minutes. I feel like, so obviously it's a 10, Mubarak,
Okay.
bro.
Okay, JD?
It's a 10.
Okay, 10 from your side. It's an 8.5 from my side. But yeah, it's a really good movie. It's super solid nomination. I hope this wins the international film, because that's a good movie for that. It's a good contender there. Anyways, let us know what you think of this movie, and below, do you think this will win? Will it win? And check out our prediction video. We'll make a prediction video.
Also, let us know if you think Mubarak giving this movie an 8.5 out of 10 is pure blasphemy, because I think it is, and if you guys feel the same way, please let us know. And
everyone knows that I'm the
discussion.
one who scores the lowest. That's my thing.
I'm gonna abstain from commenting further at the moment, guys.
All right. See y'all. Take care. Goodbye.